Hi guys. Welcome to my finally second trimester update. I did not intend for it to take this long for me to do something, but apparently it did take me this long because I am 24 weeks tomorrow. So I guess we can call this my 23 week, but basically I'm 24 week update, and there has been a lot of stuff that's happened. I'm sure lots of you have watched our gender reveals, so you already know that baby Cabrera number 2 is another boy, which Josiah was so happy about. Isaac and I probably had a slight preference that it was a girl, but we were happy that it's a boy because, I mean, it's easier. We've already had one. We've survived. He's survived so far, so, you know, apparently we can do pretty good, sort of okay with boys. Just looking here, I wrote a few things down. So that was the first thing, was that we now know the gender. We had our anatomy scan at the beginning of May, and everything looks good. Baby boy is awesome. He's doing great. He's perfect size. He's not too big. He's not too small. Everything looked great about him. Sadly, there was some bad news, and that is that I have placenta previa. Now, I don't have an extreme placenta previa, but I do have it. So that basically means that my placenta is low-lying. I actually know that it's 3 to 4 centimeters, at least at the time of the ultrasound, it was 3 to 4 centimeters overlapping my cervix. Your uterus is going to grow a heck of a lot more than 3 to 4 centimeters in the second and third trimester. So there is approximately an 80% chance that it will move up with as the uterus grows, the placenta will grow with it as it's attached to it, and you won't have any problems giving birth vaginally once you go into labor. So I have to go back for an ultrasound at 32 weeks to see if it's moved enough, because even if it's touching the edge of the cervix, even actually, I think it's less than, I can't remember the numbers, but it's something like less than a centimeter or less than 2 centimeters close, they still will often not allow you to go into labor vaginally or by yourself so that you do vaginal birth, because the placenta can get in the way. It can also, when it's in the way, there's this fear that the placenta will start to tear from the uterus before the baby's out. And that, of course, means baby doesn't get oxygen and emergency C-section. So if everything goes to plan and it moves up, it is on my left-hand side, which is a plus. I guess that's more of a guarantee that it will move. So if it does move, the happy news is that everything will just go normally. The rest of my pregnancy so far has been completely normal and happy, and there's nothing wrong. So that's the good news. The bad news, if it doesn't move, is that I will have to have a planned C-section at 35 weeks before my cervix has any time to dilate, because even the cervix dilating can cause the placenta to start tearing away from the uterus, which of course means emergency C-section, and a little bit more scary than what you really want for your healthy little baby boy to be going through. So I'm really, if you believe in prayer, please pray, because I would prefer to not have a C-section this time. I did have one with Josiah, and I am grateful that we have such things nowadays and that you can be saved from a scary situation in labor. But I would really prefer to do it the way God intended, in the natural way, and try to actually finish doing a vaginal birth that I was unable to do with Josiah. So if you could pray for me or send positive thoughts or whatever it is that you do, I would surely appreciate it. So that's kind of like the big news of the second trimester, is this lovely placenta previa, which it's funny how you don't expect. I guess like you feel like it's such a miracle to get pregnant, and then you feel like it's such a miracle to stay pregnant in the first trimester. You kind of feel like you're scot-free, and then you do an anatomy scan, you're like, crap. There are so many facets of birth and labor and pregnancy that need to go right for it to be like a perfect, healthy, natural birth, right? And it's really a miracle to have everything work together. So here's hoping that we get a miracle, because I would really like that. So something that's been going on actually since the first trimester it started, and I can't remember what week, but I think it was week 14. And which is kind of, I guess that's the first week of second trimester actually. And that is Braxton Hicks contractions. I get them all the time. Yeah, and they don't hurt at all, at least mine. I know some people's they do, but mine do not. The only thing that hurts is just all the tendons and muscles pulling at, you know, when you move suddenly or you move the wrong way and suddenly you're like, ah. So, and that's the only thing that's really painful. But Braxton Hicks is just hilarious to me because I'll be like, am I having one? And I'll touch my stomach and it's like rock hard. And it's not my abs. Trust me, it's not my abs. So, yeah, my Braxton Hicks they're real and they are happening and they are popping all the time and probably at least once a day. I don't know about that though, because as I said, I can't really tell when I get them. Sometimes I notice when I notice them when I get sitting down and I get up. I'll often get what I think from like the strain on my ligaments as I get up out of a seated position, or from seating on the floor and I stand up and suddenly I'll be like, ooh, I'll feel like a tightening, and that's all I feel is just tightening, and then I'll touch my stomach and it's like a hard rock, and so I know I'm having one. But as I said, I mean, it happens all the time, but they don't really hurt. Something else that has been a really big struggle, which it was also for my pregnancy with Josiah, is my left leg. The IT band, my hip and IT band down to my knee causes me a lot of grief. It basically, the IT band is like supposed to come like over your hip and stuff, but as your hips are rotating outwards, it can cause tension on it. And basically what that means is that your upper leg, basically your entire upper leg goes numb. Like it's asleep, and there's nothing you can do to make it wake up. You can't walk it out, for example, like if your foot falls asleep because you were sitting on it or sleeping the wrong way, you can't just get up and walk it out. It won't go away. I have to sit and relax it, or I have to do like a pretty intense hamstring kind of stretch or hip stretch to get that pain away. And although this is probably gonna sound ridiculous, my favorite hip stretch is if I put so it's my left leg, if I put my left foot up on the counter, and then I lean over on, like I kind of lean towards the counter so my knee is sticking out kind of perpendicular, and I lean forward. My legs are super, super long, like all my height is in my leg. So if I put my foot, I need my foot to be really high, almost chest high to get a really good stretch in it. So I put, because I'm pretty flexible in my legs, so anyways, I put my legs all the way up on the counter, my feet up on the counter so I can stretch it, and man, it feels so painfully good. Like it just, the burning pain of, you know, healing your hip. Awesome. But it's pretty annoying when you're like walking in a mall because there's no place to put your foot, and or to stretch. So, and even hamstring stretches, they're not really something you want to see someone do, you know, near you. Or fainting, falling over, I mean, touching your toes is not really a socially acceptable thing to do in North America, and just randomly while you're walking. So that's a little bit frustrating wherever we are sometimes, and I'm like, I have to stretch, like I cannot walk any further. But it does also help just to sit for 5 minutes or so and kind of just let that aggravation calm down. And I'm telling you, pregnancy is just so fun. So yeah, pregnancy isn't always fun, but pregnancy is what I wanted, so I am happy. So I just saw my midwife 2 days ago. Yeah, 2 days ago. So we're starting to get closer to that 26 to 28 weeks where you need to do the gestational diabetes test. So I need to call and book that. But anyways, I thought I would go and talk to my herbalist and make sure that I was dealing with someone natural first, because I know a lot in natural health, it's there's a lot more preventative stuff that goes on versus just well, no, you have this and you have to deal with it. So I wanted to go to her as soon as I could so that I could prevent it. If she can usually tell if I'm getting something. I know that I've already had about 5 or 6 years ago, I think six years ago, I was pre-diabetic, and she found that, and so I went on, you know, some certain herbs, and I also changed my diet, and that solved that problem. I also know that with my last pregnancy, she was like, no, you're not, but your blood sugars, you're not gestational diabetes, my last pregnancy, but she said your blood sugar's high, so be careful. And so she kind of tweaked a few things and gave me, I think it was a mineral or something that I went on to help me with that. So I went to see her yesterday, and she was like, ooh, you're a couple weeks away from having it. So just in time for my testing, I would have had it if I hadn't gone to her. So I am on some supplements from her, and I also am supposed to cut out, prepare yourself, wheat, sugar, dairy, pork, and beef. Like, what's left to eat? Yeah. Chicken, fish, and vegetables, and fruit, but I'm supposed to keep my fruit to minimum. As you can imagine, if you are dealing with gestational diabetes, it's not like I'm supposed to be sitting there and eating a cup of dates with my nectarine. So anyways, that's really fun. I'm doing my best, but I mean, I definitely, my big things that I'm going to try to cut out is basically like the flour, the wheat and the sugar, because to me they've got to be the biggest triggers. And then I'm just going to try to cut back on the dairy and the red meat. It's really funny because I actually haven't really been craving for the last little while red meat, which is good. I think my iron is doing a lot better from my last thing, but I will be getting my iron checked when I go back to do my gestational diabetes. They will also check for my iron, so I can give you an update on that after. Hopefully in July I'll do an update sometime. And yeah, so I'm excited about that, and not, but yeah, that's kind of the sad. That's a bit sad for me because I've been really craving a lot of bread, which of course makes sense because if my sugar is really high, my body is going to crave bread because bread is sugar, pure sugar. As for weight gain, I don't think I talked about this in my first trimester. Sorry, I wasn't really on the ball with this stuff, but my first trimester I lost weight, and as of now I've gained back the weight I lost because I lost 5 pounds in the first trimester, and I've also gained 5 pounds since. So I have now gained a total of 10 pounds in my pregnancy, but it's really only 5 because I lost 5, so I don't know how you count that, but that's really good. I'm trying to keep my weight because my weight is already too high. I want to keep it to a minimum, obviously be healthy. And I haven't been like trying to eat, you know, less or anything like that. It's just that my body doesn't need to gain a lot of weight because it has a lot there already. So it's just, you know, the kind of the basic necessity weight that needs to be added on. And cravings and stuff like that, not very much. Like, I still really like spicy food, and I still like, which is, I don't know if I mentioned that before, but spicy food has kind of been a thing for the whole time. I really do not crave, which this is weird, I don't crave like cookies and cakes, which is, if anyone knows me, like a vice of mine, especially cookies. And I don't really crave them, which is really weird. I mostly crave things like cheese and fruit and spicy food, so that's kind of good. But obviously, and bread, as I mentioned, I really have been like homemade white bread. Ooh, so bad for you. I know everybody would probably wants to see a belly shot, even though I don't want to show you my belly, so I will try to show it to you now. So here is the belly from the side, and the belly, the large belly from the front and from the other side. So it's getting nice. I mean, I still don't feel like uncomfortable with it. It's getting big, and sometimes after I've walked for a while I feel like a little bit like, but yeah. So that's my second trimester update. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thumbs up, subscribe if you want to see more, and hit the bell if you want to make sure you don't miss anything. And thanks for watching. Bye guys.